What is up, business owners, entrepreneurs, and probably my grandma? This is Business Vibe. Today's business interview is with serial entrepreneur Justin Woodruff. Justin owns a landscaping and consulting company along with multiple investment properties. He shares how he built an amazing team to run his business that allows him to work under 10 hours per week. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, so I have three things going on. I've had a landscaping company since high school, and I also have been dabbling in real estate. I have 9 rental properties at the moment. And I also do from the landscaping, I started doing consulting for other landscaping companies, and I do kind of landscape marketing and technology stuff. I live in Rhode Island. I have a 6-month-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. I like the kiteboard, got my pilot's license recently.
In high school, when you were starting your landscaping business, what made you come up with the idea?
So the landscaping was just kind of, when you're in high school, you just don't really have a lot of skills or experience or opportunities. So it's just easy, I didn't have a driver's license at that time. So, I'd start doing the neighbor's lawns, and then I would, push the mower down the street to another neighbor's lawn. And then eventually, one of my friends got a driver's license. So we started actually driving places, and we did it together. And so it was just an opportunity thing. I didn't have a lot of opportunities back then.
What about real estate? What made you get into real estate?
I've always been interested in real estate. I think probably a lot of it came from when I was younger. My aunt she was big into Robert, what's his name? Has that game that you play, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert, I forget his last name. So she had like a board game we played, and that probably had a part in it. But I've always tried to get into it, but it's a lot harder to get into than it is, lawn mowing, like the barriers to entry. So it took me a while to actually get that going. But once I was able to make that work, I pursued it.
Have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Like when you were a kid, were you kind of slinging candy on the playground type of person?
Yeah, I used to actually like sell candy on the bus. I'd go to I actually got the idea from my 6th grade teacher. She had like Jolly Ranchers, and she'd charge like 5 cents a Jolly Rancher during class. I think it was like my 3rd grade teacher. I was like, wait a second, she gets to eat the Jolly Ranchers for free. So then I started buying bags of candy and doing the same thing. I'd get a bunch of free candy out of the deal, and I'd sell it to kids on the bus.
When you sent me your text interview, you mentioned you were trying to find successes quickly, something that would work, and then if it didn't work quick, if you didn't see some success, you moved on. Can you go through that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess I've done that a lot. So sometimes it always seems easier to do something new, until inevitably everything gets hard. So I'd always kind of, especially with the landscaping, I never really loved the landscaping. Like I said, just the opportunity I had at the time. So I was kind of looking for other things. And then, things that I would like better, seemed easier, more attractive. But at the end of the day, you kind of end up in the same spot. You still have to fight through once you start getting employees and stuff. But I've tried and things, and also just like actually making the leap. I still have like a couple businesses in my pocket, I call them, because I kind of did a lot of the setup stuff, but I never actually jumped on it. And it was because of time constraints, basically with the landscaping, I've always had the winter get slow and then I get busy again. So I have I was going to start I guess I'm still a little into like drones and stuff. So I was going to start like a drone photography business, and I have like all these letters printed up, and I mailed and addressed all the realtors in the state. And that's still just sitting in a box, and I still want to mail them, but I know that also there's going to be a workload that comes in with that. I was looking into Amazon FBA, which is selling on Amazon, and I still have a crate in my basement full of those. What do you call them? That you light the fire, like the balloons that you light the fire and they go float into the sky or whatever. I was going to sell those on Amazon. I was looking into that for a while. I ordered like a bunch of samples, and then I never actually moved forward with it because of more like fear of time, not being able to focus on it. So when I came to like a wall where I was going to have to, kind of dive in, I kind of stopped. And I still want to do those things. It's just, you stretch thin when you do too many different things.
Did you have any prior experience on any of these things, or is it just something that you find is interesting and you're like, hey, I'm going to try that?
I have done some like the online stuff, and like what you got going on here, and I still actually, that's another side project I have going. It only makes a couple $100 a month, but it's SEO stuff, search engine optimization. So I do like affiliate stuff, like on my consulting business on the website. We do some like affiliate sales for like different payroll companies, different stuff on Amazon. So you get like a commission if you make the sales, and that's still something I have that kind of trickles in, but I haven't had time to focus on it. So I got interested in that years ago. My friend from high school, he worked for a company that did that. And so, he told me everything he learned, and I was always interested in that sort of stuff. And then the drone stuff was just kind of something I just have personal experience with it and I know that people like the pictures I take, and not a lot of people do it. And then when I actually got my pilot's license, it's kind of a shortcut to getting your drone license. So then I got my drone license and I started considering it again, but I'm actually still waiting for the certificate to come in the mail. So, but I might do the drone thing, at least get those letters out of my office.
Well, like when you start something and you see success really quickly, does that like really help motivate you to keep it up and move quickly with it?
Absolutely. Like it's a lot of time in, like, but you always kind of like the bigger stuff. You're always gonna have like little side projects that you want to pursue, and they just take a lot of time at first and not much traction. Like my consulting company, I wasn't really making any money for the first year or two, and I like made the website myself, and I was just doing marketing and not really seeing much out of it. But yeah, it was definitely more motivating. We picked up a big client and I was actually starting to pocket some money. Like, that doesn't hurt, right? It's definitely a motivator, but it is hard to stay motivated when you don't have money coming in, right? And especially when it takes a long time or things start getting hard.
Still got to pay the bills, right?
Right, exactly.
Reading through your text interview a little bit, you mentioned that you work about 20 hours a week, I believe you said, on your landscaping business, a couple hours a week on your other businesses. How do you manage all these businesses effectively and still have so much free time?
I think being organized is very important, like critical to be efficient. So I'm just naturally very organized. Like I just have different tools I use to stay on top of things. And I think that's also part of it, is like a natural ability that people have or don't have. But yeah, remembering things, knowing where things are, like, increases efficiency. I also leverage technology a lot because I like technology, and it works. It works really well. And also, like, when I wasn't enjoying my landscaping company, I didn't want to be there, so I was doing it remotely. So and also, like, I've met even like a lot of business owners that are very like, they're afraid to let go. Right. Whereas I'm like the opposite. I'm like reckless. I let go to the point where it's like almost reckless. Like I just so hands off that sometimes it's reckless, but it works, but like I was actually I've been looking around for a commercial space for the business, and on that site, there's a nursery where they sell plants and stuff. And the woman there, like, she's like, oh, I can't leave on the weekends. Like I want to go to a soccer game, but I can't let go. I want things done a certain way. But I also feel like that's the type of thing that keeps you locked in and working a zillion hours. Whereas I'll be like, hey, you want to be the manager, and I'll throw him into place. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But it's overall worked out, just kind of being super hands off and kind of monitoring from a distance. I think that's been helpful in helping me let go, is just kind of just watching from a distance and letting go and letting people fail and make mistakes.
Do you mind sharing some of those tools you mentioned to keep yourself organized?
I primarily use like my email, because it's hard to escape email. Like that's one of the things I've discovered, kind of landed on, because like there's always different technology and tools available for like, task management and stuff and customer management. At the end of the day, everything seems to kind of come back to email. Like you can't ever escape email. So it's kind of like the common denominator, and you're always going to have it. You can't really eliminate it. So I manage most of my stuff in like my email inbox. And basically if it's in my inbox, then it needs to be done still. And if it's already completed, then I archive it. But a lot of people like don't follow up, and you have to leave your inbox till you get the response back from them. And then I get rid of it, because otherwise you send an email. I still struggle with that sometimes. You send an email assuming someone's going to do it, and then like a month later, you're like, oh, wait, I never heard back from them. So I use email a lot. I also I try to keep stuff in, it's called Trello, but there's a lot of different solutions out there, but it's kind of for like project management, and you can, tag people, assign people, set due dates. It's not perfect, but it works for managing tasks. You can put attachments and stuff. It's kind of like a common email inbox in a way. I have very little like paper. Most of my stuff is digital. Everything that can be is like on auto pay. Bills are digital. Yeah, I don't have a lot of clutter. Like things are pretty clean.
I do the same thing. I keep it in my inbox until anybody answers. When you're building a team and when you're hiring for this, what are you looking for in people?
In general, I'd say people that do what they say they're going to do and that follow up. For example, like we have a lot of filters in place. Like right now we're looking for a production manager, and we put our ads on Indeed, and what we do a couple things to filter people. So we have them on the ad itself. It says that is one of the bullet points, like criteria for the job, like organized, dependable, able to lift 50 pounds, whatever. And then hidden in those bullet points, and I heard this from someone else, we put in pay attention to details so much so that they put it at the bottom of their resume when they apply. So it's like a small little thing, but it's a very detailed thing. And if someone actually puts that, we're like, wow, we're impressed, right? So that's like a golden star. And The other thing we do is we put right on the very top of the ad in capital letters, we say, do not apply through Indeed, you'll be disqualified. And we make them go to our website and fill out the job application form. And that filters out like 75% of the people that are just going to waste your time. So
Cool.
we make them go to the external site, fill out job application form. We also make them call in for, once they fill that job application form, we actually have disqualifying criteria right on the application form. Like, do you live greater than 50 miles, or excuse me, 30 minutes from the shop? And if they say yes, then automatically disqualifies them, shoots down email disqualified. So like we're really like we use like automation to filter out a lot of these people to begin with. And then if they finally get through all those loopholes, then once they jump through all those hoops, we ask them, the system we set up will ask them to call in for a phone interview during this time. And then they have to call in for a phone interview. We fill that out. Someone rates them like 1 to 10, ask them some other questions. And then now they get an email saying you have to come in for an in-person interview. So only until then will they actually have a shot at the job. So we intentionally make them jump through a lot of hoops. And I do think whenever we break those rules, like sometimes we get desperate and we'll go through people who do apply through Indeed who didn't follow instructions. And then, we try to hire them and they end up not being good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a reason we have those set up. It's like you want to grab, you're not going to get a lot of applicants, but you're going to get highly filtered applicants.
So like when you were building these businesses, what challenges are you facing? Are you seeing that, or just like, didn't see that coming, I need to kind of pivot and work through this?
The stuff we're going through right now that I can think of is like right now, like the consulting company is slow. And, we've taken on, we have like another guy working with us now, and I'm trying to create work for him. But it's like, it's been hard actually juggling the both because, like last year, the consulting did really well and landscaping didn't do. Actually, I guess they both did pretty well. Both had good years. But this year, we're putting a lot more energy into landscaping. And I got the same guy that's basically my main guy for both businesses. So like our efforts are diluted. So the challenge I'm going through right now is like getting work for that consulting business. But it is the off season too, but it's just been like slower than normal. So I've only been doing it like 4 or 5 years, but it's been slower. And I haven't been able to really figure out why. And I guess I didn't really see that coming because diversify, it's not the end of the world, but like it's concerning. Like it was nice having the money, but I didn't need it. But it's like, it's a little concerning. And with the landscaping, like the biggest problem is we have some guest workers that come from Mexico to work with us, and I'm responsible to house them. And I'm going through an eviction right now because the place they're supposed to move into, they didn't move into. So the guys have been in a hotel for 3 months, which is very expensive. And so I didn't foresee that, and that, I had to solve that problem and, where to put them when they knew they were coming, the lady wasn't out. So I guess that was an unexpected challenge this year.
You mentioned blocking off some time for work, some like religiously blocked off time. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, did you learn that kind of the hard way? Did you figure out, at these hours I work the best, this is what I'm keeping to myself to get this work done? Like, how important is that to you?
Yeah, so I found that generally speaking, I mean, at least in the landscaping, I think in the world in general, like most things happen in the morning, and then you can kind of get away with like the stuff that happens in the afternoon. It's kind of like if you jump at everything in the morning, the stuff in the afternoon can kind of wait till the next morning. Yeah. So I kind of figured that out. Like things just slow down. Like even with like the phones, like the landscape and the phones, like they ring a lot in the morning, and then you're doing the scheduling, getting the guys out. It's really, really busy, and then kind of not much happens during the day. And then maybe at the end of the day, a little bit of activity. But for the most part, like I can get away with. I monitor my emails the whole day, and I respond to like critical ones, but generally speaking, like I clean up my inbox every morning. So like obviously there's some hanging tasks, but I clean up my inbox every morning, and I put my phone, it's automatically on do not disturb in the morning. So if I want to make a call, I make one out, but I don't take them in. And or I will sporadically check my phone in the morning, but I do it like when I'm not focused on something else. So that's part of the organization thing. Like, when I'm in the zone and with no distractions, I know I can get a ton more done. And I also know, like, when I was working at the office, it was terrible. Like, distractions, like, I cannot focus at all, or you work with someone who just wants to talk. And like my office at the time was chatty and just like always just wants to have conversation. Like, that's not me. I'm like very task oriented, and it was terrible work environment. But I found that like, working from home, I get like way more done.
Coming up with like the last few questions here. What motivates you as an entrepreneur to keep going, especially when you hit like a major setback? But like you said, you've been doing this for so long, nothing's super unexpected. So back when when you were on the newer side of things and you faced a big setback, what keeps you going?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, that was a new problem where the tenant didn't move out. That was unexpected. It's a major problem. You know, if you have five guys you're responsible for to house and you don't have a house for them, I mean, that's a major problem. I mean, like
Yeah.
outside of the ethical responsibility, I can't have these guys like come here and not have a house. Like, I mean, come on. But I
Right.
mean, outside of that, I mean, I gotta keep the business going. So I don't really have a choice in
Yeah.
a lot of it, you know. If it was I guess more that would relate to like my side gig, you know, and if I wasn't dependent on that, it's just like it's the passion, you know, because if you're passionate about it, you're going to want to keep pushing forward anyway. Or if you need to, because it's your livelihood, you can keep pushing forward anyway. Or I guess if there's a social responsibility, you'll keep pushing forward. I guess the passion would keep you moving forward if it wasn't the need, because it's your livelihood. It has to be something you're passionate about.
So coming down to like the last two questions here, what advice do you have to somebody who wants to start their own business, who is one of those people who has the drive, but they just feel stuck. They don't exactly know where to start.
I'd say to start to set aside that time. You know, you need to have like a discipline. I'd say like, you know, no matter how busy you are, you got your full-time job, you don't really feel like it, you know, maybe when you get home or what have you. Just, you know, I did it with my IRA. Like before I had any money, I just started doing like $50 a month. It's like setting that habit. So if you just put aside whatever amount of time it is, it doesn't really matter. But if you know, have that discipline to say, all right, every day or every Monday or every Saturday or what have you, I'm going to sit down for 1 hour, undistracted, I'm going to work on this business. And, you know, over time, that small effort adds up. And also you may start increasing that to an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then once we start getting a little bit of money coming in from it, then now, you know, at some point it can start to become like your full-time gig and you can leave, you know, whatever you're doing. So I think having that discipline just to get started and, you know, actually doing it instead of talking about it, setting a plan.
Finally, is there anything like you would like to share with the readers? Any shameless plugs for your companies, anything like that?
You know, if you're looking for any marketing services for your service business, we do that. We do email marketing, postcard marketing, digital marketing, and then also we help customers transition between different CRMs and get them set up in CRMs. So, you know, we're a technology and marketing company.
Thank you very much for taking the time for it, and it was awesome to chat with you and learn more about what you do.
Yeah, of course.